YouTube car review channels can really be full of a lot of BS bias. I intend on proving that one particular car review channel seriously dislikes C8 Corvettes, so much so that really dumb things are done to sow the seed of doubt or negatively spin your attitude. Let's go.
The Z06's engine may be more powerful than the normal C8s, however, it has less peak torque, 624 newton meters instead of 630. I'm just going to get the assistants to come in now to remove the roof and show you the issue. It's not the easiest process. I'm going to help with this. There we go. Right. To get the roof in there. Your boot space is somewhat reduced and you do need some help to actually fit it. The tyres on this car are run flats, and that means that the sidewall is very, very stiff. And when you combine that with the fact that the profile is very, very low, they're really, really hard to fit. In fact, it's so labour intensive to fit these tyres onto the wheel that one dealer is charging $600 to do all four corners. That does not include the price of the tyres.
When it's been raining and the rear deck is just like covered in water from all the rain, then you think, oh no, I need to go into my boot to put something in there. Then you go into this, watch this, you lift up the boat and it just pours all the water in like that to the engine bay. Well, it's not ideal. These carbon fibre wheels may look cool, but when you look a bit closer, they are less cool because actually this part, that's metal. They're not completely carbon fibre.
Welcome. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you are doing well. And I hope that the singular popular YouTube channel and host that I'm going to complain about forgives me. The channel is good as well as the host. I simply perceive from my point of view some very negative bias that can easily turn people away from C8 Corvettes. I have a lot of my personal videos where I observe both the good and the bad about the C8 Corvettes I have owned since 2020. So I know very well when YouTube hosts are being naughty when reviewing C8 Corvettes. I have caught several occasions of obvious bias in reviews. Although they will give genuine compliments and praises, I see their obvious negative bias of which I call out in some of my older videos.
Exciting, huh? And yet here I am about to walk slowly around the car and tell you stuff. Not exciting. So look, I'll do you a deal and get this over and done with as quick as I can. Styling first. It's a bit my first supercar if you ask me, but you can make your own mind up about that.
CarWow, hosted by a British gentleman, Matt Watson, is very successful on YouTube, focusing on car reviews and car advice. I can't argue with his popularity. I also can't argue with Matt's first review of the C8 Stingray in 2020. He was actually very nice. There were no antics of negative bias. I can argue with his more recent odd and outright bias in newer videos.
And I'm the Porsche guy, right? I make you right. I don't know what to say to that. I make you right.
He currently has no problem exaggerating criticisms and spinning the truth or simply lying about the Chevy C8 Corvettes.
There is a slight problem though, and that's if you want to take the roof down. Houston, you do need some help to actually fit it.
And I am not the only person to notice this. To prove my point of view that Matt Watson does exhibit C8 Corvette bias, I will do the following three main things. Number one, I will show that Matt has a huge preference and owns a specific brand of sports car, supercar. Number two, his attitude towards other European brands is very good. Number three, I will show three different C8 reviews with Matt's huge negative bias. Matt's preference for one brand of luxury sports cars and supercars can be partly weighed by looking at where he spends his money, where he holds his greatest values. In 2025, he got this Porsche Boxster Spyder RS. He bought a 2025 Porsche Carrera 911 ST with Heritage Design Pack. Matt states that he is a true Porsche fan. He further shows his then collection of Porsches. To juxtapose this, I must be honest that I am similarly biased about Corvettes. While I prefer C8 Corvettes over most anything else, I do complain about their defects often. Corvettes are simply easier on my bank account for me, so I stick with the brand. Matt has done reviews of brands other than Chevy Corvettes and Porsches, such as Ferraris and Lamborghinis. Of the ones I watched, they were very nice and professional. No sarcasm or negative bias. Just honest reviews of what he likes and dislikes. In this video, Matt never does any nasty negative tricks to the Lamborghini Huracan in order to give the perception that it is a bad car and for future customers to avoid it. No price shock, nothing about the seats, nothing about the rear view, trunk, engine bay hatch design, nothing about 0 to 60 times, tires, warm-up time, how to rev the car, etc. As for Ferrari, Matt never does any of the nasty negative tricks to the LaFerrari 296 GTB and 488 GTB. Again, nothing about the doors, front, putting them into neutral for revving fun, engine bay hatch design, etc. All good. In my opinion, Matt's attitude towards the three brands, Porsche, Ferrari, and Lamborghini, are all very respectful. Don't you agree? I certainly have nothing to complain about in that respect. Now I'm going to illustrate Matt's negative bias towards C8 Corvettes in these last three C8 Corvette reviews. Remember, his very first C8 review was very professional, but something changed after that. Here are the three examples. Matt got a little weird with the C8 Z06 review. He started out giving a good review. Eventually, he began saying strange things, then ended on a positive note. The negative topics are very dumb and illustrate a negative bias or complete lack of research. About the target top, extremely stupid situation to force a backhanded negative spin example. I know that he knows better about the target top because he has taken the C8 Stingray's target top off by himself in the C8 Stingray review.
The Z06's engine may be more powerful than the normal C8s, however, it has less peak torque, 624 Newton meters instead of 630.
Less peak torque. The Z06 is built as a track-ready version of the C8 Stingray. Therefore, the C8 Z06's lower peak torque is not a problem because the car compensates with its high revving, naturally aspirated flat plane crank engine and the advanced transmission, giving better performance, particularly at higher RPMs while on the track. It is best to have an engine that can safely rev higher, 8.6K as opposed to the Stingray's 6.5K, to access full performance, especially at lower speeds.
The tyres on this car are run flats, and that means that the sidewall is very stiff. And when you combine that with the fact that the profile is very low, they're really hard to fit. In fact, it's so labour intensive to fit these tyres onto the wheel that one dealer is charging $600 to do all four corners. That does not include the price of the tyres.
Run flat tires. I got my tires mounted for under $100 each for the rears here in Texas. He may be referring to California prices. And as for run flats, the Z06 tires are extremely similar to those on the Lamborghini Huracan, which are often the Pirelli P0s, usually a high-performance summer tire, Just as with the Z06, the P0s and the Z06 Michelins can be run flats or conventional tires. Just a detail to be investigated by the buyer. Warm up at first start takes too long.
The warm-up procedure can take forever. So when you're starting, you often have to wait for quite a while until the red line mark moves all the way around to 8,500 RPM, which is where you should be able to rev it to. So if you just bear with me.
Sometime later.
Finally, we're good to go.
Total BS. After starting the engine, you wait for the high idle RPMs to settle down, and that ensures proper oil circulation throughout the engine before you get going. It only takes about 30 to 60 seconds for the Z06 to get ready to go. He makes it seem like an eternity. Doors too long. Yes, this is a well-known criticism, but only for tight parking spaces. This is alleviated by using strategic parking positions or using the easy exit feature of the seat where it moves back when you exit the car. I have had no problems. I'm just careful about my parking, and it's all easy enough. Let's pause for a second for another little reality check. Making YouTube videos requires a lot of time. Most time is getting to and from content locations, obtaining that content, and a lot of other things going on. It is very possible that Matt has done the best he can with the time that he is allowed. I think that could be a huge reason behind some of Matt's bias. He just doesn't have time to really get familiar with the C8 Corvettes, honestly. Now for the second Z06 video I watched. A drag race between the Z06 and GT3. Pretty cool. I first read the description and noticed it was respectable by saying, "These two superstars." Then I began the video, which starts very well. The initial pictures of the Z06 are very good, and the races seem legitimate. Both cars were outstanding indeed. Here are the divisive comments and actions I disapprove of the most. Before racing begins, Matt makes the point at the 1 minute 18 second mark that he wants to be in the Porsche, not the Z06.
Yanni, I think we've got this the wrong way round. I should be in the German car and you should be in a bright yellow, loud American car.
I would agree with you, but
And I'm the Porsche guy, right?
I make you right. I don't know what to say to that. I make you right.
Not terrible, but shows bias for sure. It is the next few circumstances that I mainly have issue with. At the 4 minute mark, Matt pretends that he doesn't know how to put the Z06 into neutral for giving it some good revs for a sound comparison. He was obviously floundering, trying to make the Z06 look bad. To me, he made himself look dumb. Let's watch.
You're not even hearing that, are you?
Mate, I can't hit anything. That's ridiculous. And I've opened the window as well.
Yeah, this is like a 5.5 litre naturally aspirated V8 with a flat plain crank, so like a Ferrari, and nothing. I'm going to try and put it into launch, see if it can do the cheat like you did. So, oh, wait, I wonder if I to drive. Hey Yanni, I found another hack for the noise. Listen to this now. Pull up on both pedals, it disengages the clutches, and then I... Yeah, that's more like it. Yeah, drill, baby, drill.
Let me show you that he knows better by returning to the first Z06 review. Watch.
Sounds promising with that sports exhaust, but there's a trick. Pull in both paddles and you can rev it all the way up. Go on, Jesse! Let rip!
So he lied and played a negative bias game that makes you feel uncomfortable with the Z06. It had to be premeditated, or he has a terrible memory. Yet, he knows how to properly put the Porsche, Ferrari, and Lamborghinis into neutral and rev them. Why? Because they are done the same way.
So look, if I do this, pull both paddles, it'll go into neutral, I can rev the engine and then dump it.
And it sounds good. First I can do that thing, pull both paddles together and then rev it when you're cruising through town.
Ignoring Matt for a second, his co-conspirator made fun of the Z06's shift paddles at the 20-minute 57 mark.
And I'm not doing no flappy paddle like Sam.
That is an outright insult. This was a seriously weird thing. Matt mysteriously called for emergency help while driving erratically.
Do you need fire, police, or ambulance? Yeah.
Hey,
Due to the emergency operator.
Oh,
If
why?
you don't have an emergency, I'll clear the line for you. You've pressed the SOS button in your car.
No, I
I'll
didn't.
clear the line for you if you don't have an emergency.
I find this hugely improbable. I am very skeptical because I looked up general Google information about this and found no theoretical way of it happening. The e-call system in England and UK is activated the same way as in the US, by airbags being deployed and or a severe impact. My opinion is that Matt actually pressed the SOS button just to make a negatively biased, rage-baiting point. In the 17th minute,
Let's play a little game before we race. I'm going to count to 3 and then you've got to say which car looks the best. Don't do it at the radio, just do it to camera, okay? 1, 2, 3, Porsche.
Porsche GT3 easy.
Now I'm going to do the same thing again, but this time say which car you would rather own. Don't worry about not the price of them or anything like that. 1, 2, 3,
Porsche GT3 again.
not terrible, but certainly seems very biased to me. I think that after seeing the negativity towards the Z06, it's likely that Matt has engineered and seeded into viewers' minds that the Z06 is a bad sports car. I'm not done yet with my proof of Matt's bias. Next is my final video evidence. It was the recent ERay review by CarWow that got me into investigating them again. I saw the title saying Chevy's lying about the 0 to 60 time. So I investigated because I thought that that was pretty much a clickbait title. Not terrible, but clickbait nonetheless. Most everyone knows 0 to 60 times are always advertised as a result of perfect conditions. I mean, full track setup, drag strips, you know, the whole schmill. So testing a drag time of a high performance car out on the road, even on an airstrip, that is not ideal conditions, not at all. So it already sets up negative bias, and it's really just a total waste of time and effort. But Matt uses it to his behalf to make the C8 look negative. Getting into this third video, the ERay review, here are the comments that disturbed me the most. First, comparing the C8 Corvettes to Ellen DeGeneres is a complete insult.
And it's a little bit like Ellen DeGeneres because it's come to live in the UK. Look, first time ever, a Corvette with the steering wheel on the correct side. Yes.
Basically a truth, but honestly a biased slur because most people in both the UK and US are not really fond of her too much. She has a lot of negative, controversial aspects to herself. He then mentions that it is strange and odd how the outer exhaust tips are darker than the inner tips.
Strange, we've got quad tailpipes, and the ones on the outside seem to be discoloured compared to the ones on the inside. I think most of the exhaust gas must go through the ones on the outside, and so they are heated up and change colour, and these haven't, and it's odd.
No, it is just how the different modes of the exhaust system works. Nothing odd about it. When the car is in regular quiet mode, the exhaust is routed through the outer tips. Nothing odd or strange about it. They put the target top on effortlessly. Something you will recall that Matt was making fun of in the prior Z06 video. Getting midway through the video, he does a terrible job of illustrating the trunk space of the C8. His example of rain entering the rear engine bay is terrible. This is hugely biased, a stupid observation of which would be identical for the Ferraris and Lamborghinis. He doesn't play this game except only with the C8 Corvettes. That is stupid, negative bias through and through. He also failed to recognize that the wheels are full, single-piece carbon fiber. As Google says and Road and Track reported, the wheels are one-piece carbon fiber, and the same manufacturer makes carbon fiber wheels for his beloved Porsche 911 GT3, as well as the Ford Mustang GT350R, GT500, and the wonderful GT Monster. His comments are either pure bias or incompetence. Wrong either way. Immediately afterwards, he describes getting into the Corvette in tight spaces is difficult. I agree. It's just that his complaint is getting old and worn out. His illustration of utilizing the trunk space in the back is highly moronic and just extremely biased. Shows that he's trying to set up negativity to the viewer. He brings up the target top again. He makes the point that you lose the space in the rear trunk.
There is an issue, I'll show you in a second. Now this is the issue. Where are you going to put this?
Might be good to know, not actually considered a negative. It's common for all Corvettes since the third generation, starting back in 1968. Again, with the fourth gen, and so on. Very common for decades. Why an angry face for the rear view camera instead of saying something interesting? He did say to avoid it and instead go for the Stingray, implicitly maybe the Z06 as well. That's it for my nitpicking of Matt's alleged bias of C8 Corvettes. In review, here are some of his weird negative C8 Corvette only comments. Going down the list, comparing the C8 Corvettes to Ellen DeGeneres, insulting. He's a Porsche guy, and he and his cohort prefer Porsche's looks and ownership. Bias, not needed within a Corvette review. Expensive, obvious, and true. Floppy paddle shifter sound, insulting. Doors are too big, obvious and true. Target top is awkward and takes up the rear trunk. Just bias. I see no such remarks for other equivalent cars. Rear hatch allows for water to enter into the engine bay. Bias. C8 hatches are designed the same as Ferraris and Lamborghinis, yet no such games played with them. Run flat tires difficult and expensive to change. Bias. Compared to what? There's no context to his complaint. Wheels not completely carbon fiber. Wrong. Warm up takes too long. Wrong. Fumbles with revving and putting the C8s into neutral. Bias. Premeditated negativity. Automatic emergency calling. Wrong. He had to have hit the SOS button. Outer exhaust tips look odd or strange. Bias. Wrong. Ignorance of the exhaust system. Z06 has lower peak torque. Bias. complete ignorance of its track preparedness. Let's take a quick few minutes listening to some opinions from the Brown Car Guy as he mentions his thoughts about YouTube car review hosts and their attitudes.
And they forget what they're really supposed to be doing, enlightening the enthusiasts and enabling car buyers to make the best decision for them. Some journalists even feel the need to completely trash a car just to enhance their credibility. They want to appear serious and important and give the definitive verdict on the car. Also, it's really important to remember who you're doing this for. For me, reviewing a car is about answering one very simple but a very important question. Is this the right car for the right person at the right time at the right price? It's not about whether I personally adore or despise it, nor whether the steering is 0.2% sharper than the rival. It's all about whether the car actually makes sense for the buyer who's going to live with it day in and day out. So this is why I never read or watch other people's reviews. At least not until I reviewed the car myself, or maybe it's a car that I will most likely never get to review, but I'm curious about.
This means to me that Matt's use of negative bias and dirty little tricks implying the C8s are inherently inferior to other luxury sports cars and supercars misses the point of making a professional car review video. He has made the mistake of inserting himself and his values into the reviews as opposed to just providing honest information for his audience. My question to you is, do you think I'm right or wrong? Let me know what you think in a nice manner. And with that, please relax, take it easy, be a motoring fanatic on your road odyssey, and I will see you later. Bye. Oh, wait. No, wait. There's just a little bit more. Here are some moments in the Car Sauce video. The car review industry is broken.
The car review industry right now is completely broken. I think we've all seen that Reddit post going through one of our competitors showing their rating system as not being, well, very fair. And I think that we agree with that. In fact, we have been guilty of that on our end. When we launch cars to do things, because
It's very flawed.
cars do not get rated fairly. Everything somehow ends up landing between 70% to 80%, and that needs to change. And if we're being totally honest, especially being within this industry, a bit of a peek into the backdoor operations, if you will, is that a lot of manufacturers can actually pressure these publications to put out higher reviews. And that's why they seem to be ending up in this higher space. At least that's what I've seen.
And it's not even direct pressure, it can be indirect pressure. There's a lot of commercial relationships that exist between publications and manufacturers.
Here's a little YouTube video by Partsman Pro explaining some of the more reliable car review channels and why they are more professional. The title is Car Reviews Are Broken. Here's who's still honest. Link in the description below.